Can you imagine lying unconscious in a hospital bed while your own father stands outside asking the doctor, is she really worth the cost? Picture this: machines breathing for you, your heart barely holding on, and the man who raised you calculating whether your life is too expensive to save. What would you do if you survived, only to discover you were never seen as a daughter, just a financial burden? Would you stay silent to keep the family image intact? Or would you expose the truth, even if it shattered everything? Tonight's story isn't just about an accident. It's about a girl who was called too costly her entire life until she stood up and proved that the truth is far more expensive than any hospital bill. Stay until the end, because what she did next unmasked a perfect father in front of everyone. And if powerful emotional stories like this move you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It's your love and support that keeps these real stories alive. Now take a deep breath, because this isn't just a survival story. It's about what happens when someone stops believing they were ever a burden in the first place. My name is Hannah Cole. I'm 31 years old. I'm a trauma nurse. And 3 months ago, while I was unconscious in the ICU where I used to work, my father told a doctor, "She's not worth the expense. Do what you have to do." He said it calmly, like he was choosing not to upgrade a phone plan. I didn't hear it when it happened. I was intubated, sedated, my body swollen from internal bleeding after a highway collision that should have killed me. But when I woke up 19 days later with staples down my abdomen and a ventilator scar at my throat, that sentence was waiting for me. And it wasn't even the worst thing he did. What happened next didn't just end our relationship, it exposed him in front of everyone who had ever called him a good man. Before I take you there, let me take you back. I grew up believing I was expensive. Not difficult, not rebellious, expensive. I was born with severe asthma, the kind that sends ambulances at 2 a.m., the kind that racks up ER bills before you can spell your own name. My father used to sit at the kitchen table with envelopes spread in front of him like playing cards. "You know how much this costs?" he'd say. I was 7 the first time I remember him saying it. By 10, I stopped asking for field trips. By 13, I told my teachers I didn't want to go to summer camp because I wasn't interested, when the truth was I didn't want another lecture about money. My older brother, Aaron, never heard those lectures. He got braces immediately when the orthodontist suggested them. I waited 3 years because we had to be strategic. He got a used car at 16. I got a bus pass. And somehow I convinced myself it was fair, because I was the one who cost more. I carried that guilt like a second spine. Maybe that's why I became a nurse. I told myself if I spent my life saving other people, maybe I'd finally balance the ledger. My mother died when I was 22, a brain aneurysm, sudden, unforgiving. After that, my father became a hero in everyone's eyes. Single dad, hardworking, devoted. He told people he sacrificed everything for us, and I nodded along, even when I was paying my own rent at 23. Even when I was covering my own health insurance, even when he borrowed money I never saw again, I nodded, because daughters are supposed to be grateful. The accident happened on a Tuesday. Rain, oil-slicked roads, a delivery truck that lost control. I don't remember the impact, just the smell of metal and something burning. They told me later I coded once in the ambulance. Internal bleeding, a ruptured spleen, a collapsed lung. Emergency surgery saved me the first time, but I needed a second one, and that's when my father was called. He arrived at the hospital at 9:42 p.m. Security logs confirm it. He did not go to my room. He went to billing. He asked about insurance coverage. He asked about projected out-of-pocket expenses. He asked what would happen if intervention ceased. He was informed that without further surgery, my survival odds would drop significantly. He asked for numbers. They gave him numbers. He signed a limited care directive. He declined aggressive measures. And then he went home. I know this because of Elena. Elena Ruiz was charge nurse that night. We'd worked side by side for 4 years. I knew my coffee order. I knew her kids' birthdays. She saw the paperwork. She heard him say, "She's always been fragile. Maybe this is mercy." Mercy. Elena checked my employee file. Unlike most people, I had filled out every line during onboarding: emergency contact, advance directive, medical power of attorney. My best friend, Leela Morgan. Not my father. Not my brother. Leela. Elena called her at 10:17 p.m. Leela drove 72 miles in a thunderstorm. She walked into that ICU with wet hair and fire in her eyes. She overturned every limitation he had signed. She authorized everything. The second surgery lasted 5 hours. My father never came back that night. He thought I would be dead by morning, but I wasn't. When I woke up, the first face I saw wasn't his. It was Leela's. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. "You're stubborn," she whispered. I tried to laugh, but it hurt too much. My father came the next day. He cried on cue. He held my hand. He told me he never left my side, and I watched him perform grief like a seasoned actor. Something in me shifted then. Not anger, clarity. Elena told me the truth 3 days later. Every word, every signature, every timestamp. She apologized like she had failed me. She hadn't. She saved me. When my father came to visit again, he brought flowers and a story. He said, "I told them to do everything. I'd never give up on you." I looked at him and said, "That's interesting." His smile faltered. "You were heavily medicated. Things get misinterpreted." I didn't argue. I just nodded, because I needed more than confrontation. I needed facts. And then, while I was still in that hospital bed, Leela discovered something else. My apartment lease had been terminated. My belongings had been packed and moved. My savings account, jointly opened years ago when I was 19 for convenience, had been emptied, transferred, to him. He thought I wasn't coming back. He thought loose ends needed tying. He underestimated 2 things: paper trails and me. What he didn't know was that 3 months before the accident, I had updated my financial accounts, removed his access, documented everything. And what he definitely didn't know was that I had quietly invested in something he had no claim to. When my mother died, she left behind one thing no one talked about: a small life insurance policy. It wasn't huge, but she left it solely to me. My father handled the paperwork at the time, told me the payout barely covered funeral costs. I believed him, because daughters believe. But 6 months before my accident, I'd requested a copy of the policy from the insurer for something irrelevant, and I found that the payout had been significantly higher, enough to change the course of my early 20s, enough that I had never seen a dime of it. He had redirected it, legally questionable, morally catastrophic. I didn't confront him immediately. I waited. Healing gave me time to think, time to plan. My father was a respected member of our community, treasurer at church, organizer of charity drives, the man who preached about stewardship and sacrifice. I chose a Sunday, not for revenge, for truth. I asked to speak during announcements. He was standing near the front, shaking hands, smiling. I walked up slowly, my scar still tight when I moved. I took the microphone. "I want to thank everyone who prayed for me," I began. Heads nodded, smiles, Warmth. I'm alive because someone refused to give up on me. I paused. My father signed paperwork limiting my care the night of my accident. The room went still. He laughed softly. Hannah, this isn't the place, he said. It's exactly the place, I said. I explained. The signatures, the billing conversation, the emptied accounts, the life insurance payout from my mother that never reached me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I spoke like I speak to families in trauma bays. Calm, clear, unapologetic. Then I handed copies of documentation to the board chair. He read the first page, then the second. He didn't look at my father. He looked at me. Is this accurate? Yes. My father tried to speak, tried to frame it